and keep focused and wait, and then boom, take the most perfect photo in the world. Think about sports photography. They're not going to take a photo right after somebody catches the ball or fumbles it or whatever, was important about that. They're going to take a photo. They're going to sit there and wait. And then they see the perfect thing. Hopefully they can react quickly enough that the perfect moment is captured. Well, art of everyday life isn't like that. And our lives aren't like that either. You see, on Facebook, let me jump around some more so you'll have something more interesting to look at. You see on Facebook, everybody's lives are perfect. They have makeup on. You can't see any grossosity off of them. The grossest thing that you see is the backgrounds that they have, the environment that they're sitting in. And certainly I can say, yeah, I'm guilty of that. Look at all this junk back here in my home office. And I do know that, yes, I know there's a red electric fan up here above my head. And this weird cloth that I have has red electric fans on it. That's just the way it is. I put that fan up there because I get hot sometimes. Okay, so these are the reasons that someone might choose these as a topic, as a subject for their images is, well, let's just try something, a view out the window. And that brings a super important purpose of art, of all art. And that is that art is a mirror into our world. It reflects our world, our cultures. And it's also a window through which we can see these parts of our world. Window, mirror, mirror, window. Sometimes these paintings might be done for nostalgia. You see this, of course, I love cows, and, this beautiful image of the cows in the pasture coming down the path, and there's a little farmer behind them, and nobody's thinking about any kind of great philosophical musings. They're just going home. It's not quite sunset yet. It's kind of a cloudy day, so, it's just kind of like a regular day. But the thing is that, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to show you that right now. Yeah, this is a good one. Say you've got some of these images of your life, a big pack of photos that you've got. And in the future, you go through them and you go, wow, I'm so glad that I have that photo to look at of, just this sitting around the house. I have this great photo of my grandmother who died when I was real young. And she's just like, she's working on a meal and somebody says, hey, grandmother. And she looks up and smiles and they snap the photo. And I think of that and it makes me really happy. It makes me happier than if I had some kind of a formal portrait of her, because it's just as she appeared to me. You see this really odd image here. Man, it's a bunch of junk. It's got ugly power towers in there, and it looks like some nuclear reactor cooling towers in the back, and there's all kinds of garbage there, and this weird building, and yet it's got this poignant moment of a man greeting his dog who's jumping up onto him, and the man's got a cane, and so you're like, oh, faithful dog, longtime companion, isn't that sweet, kind of things. Again, unposed. They're unaware that they are being that they have any type of an audience. They're not making eye contact. They're just there. They're part of the landscape, but they're the landscape of our culture and our world. No matter what time period these images illustrate, we can learn from them. We can get historical point of view, historical knowledge from them. See what was important to people of that culture at that time, the way they dress, the things that they have. And you see, you know, like right here, you got a lady holding a pretty decanter, like of brandy or something that she's going to give to her husband, who's sitting in his fancy chair. And behind her, there's like probably a warm, welcoming kitchen. But you see this other thing that there are some images that I jumped away from, and I'll show you again. There's two dogs, but there's all these dead animals in there. Oh my God, there's like a duck and a rabbit and some pheasants, and they're kind of like splayed out there. There's a rifle, and there's like a hunting horn, all of these kind of things. Well, it's because this is a genre of art of the everyday. And a genre means a type. Like when you're talking about movies, you know, you got comedies and you got horror films, and you got biographies, you know, rom-coms, romantic comedy, slapstick comedy. Those are all called genres. And that's something that you need to write down also. You want me to spell it? G-E-N-R-E-S. That's the plural. Genre is the singular form of that. And when you use that word around people, they're going to be impressed. It's about a $20 word. Very sophisticated. So this genre, let me skip back over here to those other dead animals. Whoops, there they are. This genre is called a game painting. I don't know. I don't know why people did it. They didn't do it for the reasons that people have trophy hunting dead animals that they killed on display and things like that. I don't know why they did game painting, but it's a big genre of this art of the everyday. On one hand, it's a still life, which is like what we see in a table setting, fruit, flowers, different things that an artist would paint. Maybe that's why they're doing it. What was weird is that some of these still life paintings, the artist would paint them and set up these subjects, compose the still life, but then they would paint it, you know, and it took them some days or more to paint it. And in the meantime, the fruit and other things would start deteriorating. But they would paint it because that was interesting to show the metamorphosis of something that was alive into something being like totally gross and rotten. Art of the everyday life doesn't necessarily have to take place in some kind of a garbage dump in some slum near a nuclear reactor. This is some ladies from like 1500, 1550 probably, the Northern Renaissance, like in Germany, those northern countries in Europe. And it's fine ladies, it's fine men, and they're just visiting. Like one lady is displaying something to the other people, you know, and it's like, oh, look what I found. No big deal. Here's that vase, another one. Again, here's a typical day in a typical small town, beautiful sky. The architecture is very nice houses. It's well lighted. You can really kind of feel like you're in there, although it's not like a totally realistic view. It doesn't look like what you'd see when you were taking a photo of it. It's called naturalistic. Write that down. The difference between realism, naturalism, photorealism, and I guess that's all the kinds of realism I can think of right now. Something done in a subjective manner by the artist. The artist decides, you know what, I don't want to make this look like a photo. I want it to have some kind of emotion, a movement in it. You look down at these ladies, they're all wearing scarves and things that are like trailing in the wind. They're showing the movement, things like that. So that's naturalistic. It is, what's that other term? I know this, I forget, I'll have to write it down. It's just another term for realism. So, realism and naturalism are kind of the same, but realism is of, things that we recognize, the outside world, but naturalistic is not concerned with a perfect rendition of the scene that they are depicting. I think that works a pretty good definition. Here we see a hunting scene, snow. The backs of the people are facing us. No eye contact. You can even see way down on the bottom there, you can see some women or somebody who's maybe skating, ice skating, something like that. Oh, here's my favorite little cows. Sometimes the reason that artists would paint the everyday world is perhaps to try to understand and depict details of the subject, basically just trying to see how well that they can depict it. It's kind of like a self-test. It's kind of like practicing on your guitar or your skateboard. The famous artist Albrecht Dürer, very famous painting of the little bunny, the hare. And what's funny, I just discovered, hey, wait a minute, those are both Dürer. Okay, never mind. I thought I had another rabbit in there that, never mind. Okay, this is a funny image. We see a family. They're not eating some grand meal. They're not dressed in grand clothing. They're in a house, looks like it's their house, their home. It's not particularly fashionable, arranged. It's the cabinet there is pretty dang cluttered. The things that are sitting on the table, they're not like nicely composed and kind of, but you look at those two bottles that are in the foreground there, those two jar bottle things, it makes me think, oh, I know what brand that is. That's, of course I can't think of it right now. But, we see like in front of the woman on the left, what's that in front of her? Smucker's jam bottles. We know that, we can recognize it. But what's funny is that this painting was just done in the last recent months, and it's about COVID. It's about life during COVID. You see the people that are all spaced around, social distancing and things. And So that's, I mean, that painting is going to end up being part of our history of this very unique time of quarantining and all the odd things that we have been doing since March. More cows. And again, a way to instantly identify whether this is art of the everyday life is to look around the environment, to look at the background of the image and other elements that might be in the corners or, away from the focal point that you might not think about, little details that you don't think about. Well, you see, God, all in the corner, there's a bunch of buckets and baskets and things. There's the milk bucket. There's like a chopping block and an axe. Over on the right, there's a wash tub of some sort. And you just see this 8x10 sign. That's because I got it off the web of some, you could buy some print or something like that. Even the ancient Egyptians had everyday life. They didn't all stand around in the pyramids performing religious rituals and wearing fine clothes. Here we got a farmer, and he's waving like a kind of a whip or something in front of his pair of oxen. And probably the hieroglyphics that you see kind of in the center there of the image, they probably say, well, here's a farmer, and he's walking along with his team of oxen, and he's waving something in front of them to keep them going. Everyday life.